Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. This is NIK NIKAM, and this is an update on NASDAQ QQQ on March 10, 2021. Is the QQQ going anywhere, or is it the calm before the storm? Let's analyze and find out where we stand, because it looked like the QQQ was on a standstill after it rushed through the gates at 8:30 in the morning. What happened and where is it headed? Let's look at it. Here is a 30-minute 1-month chart of QQQ. Here is a 60-minute chart of QQQ at 1-month interval, along with the stochastic, Bollinger Bands, and RSI. When the market had an upswing, and most of which was traced back on Monday, then we had a beautiful upstroke on Tuesday. There was a lot of anticipation as whether the QQQ can cross the resistance at $314 and close above the resistance level. Well, apparently the QQQ closed at 310.88. In fact, it was down 89 cents. On the same day, when the broader stock market like the S&P 500 was up 0.62% and the Dow was up 472 points, that is equal to 1.48%. So what does that mean? Is the NASDAQ struggling, losing the momentum, or is it running out of gas? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at the price action in the last few days and see if we can make some sense. Let's go to 5 days here and go to maybe 30 minutes to start with. It's not good enough. Let's go to 15-minute interval. Here's what has happened. This was Monday. It went up, and this was followed by a downslope, and we were not sure whether this was the ABC correction of the C wave and whether it was headed down. It was not clear. But anyway, the market closed here at 311.79 yesterday, and it was down pre-market, and immediately after the market opened, it shot up all the way to 316. It looked like it was trying to cross that resistance level of $314 and make a run for the upswing, but it did not materialize. As a result, it came down for the next hour or so, and after that, practically the market went to sleep, or the investors went to sleep, with a little downward deflection towards the last hour. Now the question is this an indication of consolidation? If we think this is a consolidation, there are only two things that can happen after a consolidation, as it is reflected in the Bollinger Bands with narrow space between the two standard deviations. Either it can break to the upside or it can break to the downside. If it breaks to the upside, that's good news, but if it were to break to the downside, that's going to be bad news, because the next stop is going to be $292, and after that it will be $270. Anyway, here's a 200-day moving average. It is also below the 13-period average and the 20-period average. But the interesting thing is, if we were to follow the Elliott wave principle of an impulsive wave, which is 5 waves, and a correction, which is 3 waves, how do we interpret this one? If this was an impulsive wave, we had wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If this is a 5, then the question is this the end of the ABC correction, or is this a new impulse with a minor correction here of A, B, and maybe we see a little downward deflection here before it begins a march upwards as a cocktail effect to the S&P and the Dow, which are just flying off the roof? That is an optimistic look. On the other hand, if this was the top of the ABC wave, and here we have 1, then we have A, B, C, then are we looking at a falling knife? I don't know. Let's look at the indicators here and see if they do any justice to our imagination. If you go and look at the hourly chart, which is the best way to look at these indicators, let's take a longer time period here. So we are not goofing up. Go to even 1 month period here, not much difference. Okay, here we had the upswing and the downswing, that is A, B, C, or it could be just the termination of the C wave and the beginning of a new trend. We don't know because we don't have a confirmation yet. But what do the indicators reflect? Here the stochastic is way up 69%. If the stochastic was somewhere here in the bottom 20% or below, that would have been much more sort of convincing. Like here, if it was in the bottom, then you would think it is an oversold situation, then you expect it to go up. Like same thing here. But on the other hand, the stochastic is at the high level of 69-70%. Same thing with Bollinger Bands. The height of these bars are coming down. The height of these bars are coming down, and when they are coming down, you wonder if they follow a trend like this and they're going to have a downward swing, and the red line is going to cross over the MACD line. That means we are looking at a downward deflection. Similarly, the RSI is not in an overbought situation like here, but it is stuck at 51. So there is a dilemma at this time, and we don't have a confirmation as to whether this narrow band we saw on a 15-30 minute chart, whether it is going to break out to the upside or the downside. As I said, we can interpret this as A, B, C, and C ended here in the first 15 minutes today, and this is 1, A, B, C, and now we're going to see a downward deflection, or maybe this one was the end of C wave. This is a new wave, and this ended at 5-wave progression. Then we have a correction which may last a little longer tomorrow before it takes an upswing. Hopefully, if the indicators come down by that time. So there is still a big question mark as to what is going to happen with the QQQ, because all the indicators are not primed for a rocket takeoff of the NASDAQ index or the QQQ. That is in a nutshell my interpretation. This is just my observation. It is for educational purpose only. Take it at that level. What do you think is going to happen to the market tomorrow, on the next day, or the rest of the week? I'm looking for, buy signals like here. On an hourly chart, I think if we look at, and when it hits the bottom below the 30%, there is a buying opportunity. But here, this is in a no man's land. It is going nowhere. The indicators not giving any suggestions that this is an overbought situation or whether this is an oversold situation. It is in between. It's like being half pregnant. That's not a good sign. But the good sign is the market did not crash 12 points today. I think that's the best news I can give. With that, I would like to conclude this presentation, and please do subscribe to my channel, and we will bring you a daily update as what has happened in the market and what might have accounted for this. We have to understand these markets are driven by money managers, hedge fund managers, big banks, and mutual fund directors who are getting millions of dollars salary. So this is what is happening to the market, and we just go with the flow, but flow is not giving us any directions. Or is it? What is your interpretation? Thank you so much.